Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both our December 3rd and our December 17th City Council meetings, our final two meetings of the year.
Yes, they are. Yep. Oh, hi, Steve.
Hi.
Thanks for having me here.
Here we are. I brought you in on a nice wintry day. We're getting our first big taste of snow, and the plows are out.
First day it looks like winter.
Yeah.
It's actually quite pretty out there.
Yeah, it is. And our plows have been hard at work on keeping the roads clear for folks. And we always remind folks that winter parking restrictions are in effect. So make sure to keep those cars off the street overnight between 2 and 6 a.m. until April 1st. And then always after a snowfall of 3 or more inches until the roads are plowed curb to curb.
So, right. So, like, for example, there's no parking on the streets today until they are plowed curb to curb.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, and we had another thing. We came off of the tree lighting festival.
Oh my gosh, yes. We had I think it was our fourth annual tree lighting last Saturday night, and it was spectacular. The weather kind of came around. When we were setting up, it was raining and sleeting, and it was not pleasant.
Yeah.
But we got it all set up, that stopped, and then it started to snow, and then it kind of looked like that, Courier Knives scene out there.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful event. Santa came in the fire engine at 4 o'clock, and then people just kept filling in. We had a 20 by 40 heated tent for all the kids to do their crafts in this year, their letter to Santa and make Christmas decorations. And they had 300 tree decorations for the kids to decorate, and they ran out just before the end of the event.
Oh.
So it was a terrific turnout. Between 5 and 5:30, we light the tree at 5:30. Between 5 and 5:30, it was getting a little difficult to arrange traffic. I mean, there were so many cars coming in, and for the tree lighting, it was just wonderful.
Yeah, that's good to see that it's been growing, and like you said, in its fourth year. I imagine it'll be back again next year.
Well, that's the plan.
That's
the plan. Yep. And next year we've actually added a job. It'll be somebody's specific job to. There's a big clock out there that kind of gives people an idea when the lighting is going to be.
Yeah.
But then we need to turn that off. So there will be somebody that'll be their job is to turn that off. Because while I was in the middle of my announcements, that got ahead of me, and all of a sudden somebody in the crowd started going, 5, 4, and I went, there will be no big countdown. This is already going.
Wait, this is like a show. You need to be done when it hits 0, so you just got to get your comments done before it hits 0.
Well, except, right. I have very good excuses, but I won't go through them all right now. I timed out my announcements. I started in plenty of time, but.
Just some things. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Someone can apply for that job next year.
Yeah, but it was spectacular. The tree lighting came on. I think Jake had 6 minutes of fireworks.
Yeah, that's just.
It's an amazing fireworks show too.
Yeah, I mean it's shorter obviously than the 4th of July, but it still seems like it goes on for quite a long time.
It's shorter than our 4th of July. It's not shorter than some other communities' 4th of Julys.
Good point. Good point. So.
Yeah, no, it's just a wonderful event, and I think this year we really cemented it in where a lot of people said we'll be back next year.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like the heated tent was a nice addition. That was when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's actually a good idea.
They want to actually go next year to a bigger tent.
Yeah.
And Nest to Threads brings all of those crafts out there for the kids. Yeah. And they said next year they're bringing 600 decorations.
Yeah.
So
I imagine it's easier to do those crafts when you can take off your mittens and gloves and.
It was quite nice in that tent. That heater worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had the Nordic ski team there, and we had. I shouldn't have started. I don't have my list in front of me. We had so many folks helping out at that event. Community Strength, the city, all of the staff that's involved. Just so many people. Bill Ganser in the Ice Center is so gracious. Yeah. It's like, oh, Bill, we need this. Oh, Bill, we need that. And
while their rink is busy with hockey games, you got that going on.
Well, it was hockey weekend or hockey day or something. Yeah. There was games going outside, games going inside. There was silent auction. There was raffles. There was just lots of stuff going on.
Busy place.
Yeah, but there was also a bake sale. That was really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like wander in there, go, ooh, these are really good.
Sounds a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yes, sir.
If you missed it this year, get on out there. It's usually in December. So It'll be back again in 25.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into things. We're actually going to start with our December 3rd meeting. This time we had a presentation. This was actually a donation from CR Sports Bar to our police and fire departments.
Yeah. Billy called us a while back. He's a bartender down there for Jerry Johnson owns the place. Yep. Jerry's always been extremely helpful to anybody that has a cause, anybody that needs to raise funds for an illness, for accident victims, whatever it is. Yep. He's raised, and I don't remember now if is it nearly $2 million over the years he's been doing these?
Millions, I believe. So,
yeah. And this year they decided that they were going to start raising funds. They really value our first responders, and they wanted to start raising funds for our police and fire. And to that end, they've had these dedicated raffles working with their charitable gambling operation, competition cheer. Mm-hmm. And they ended up bringing in a check for $2,000 to police and $2,000 to fire, so that they can use it for things that weren't otherwise budgeted that they need.
Well, that's awesome. And I know they also gave, I believe, $2,000 to the sheriff's office. So they raised quite a bit of money.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so we really appreciate that. We really appreciate that spirit, that community spirit they've got, and the support.
All right. Moving forward, Council adopted a resolution approved an appointment to the Sustainability Commission.
We did. So our commissions are really important things around the community or around the city.
Yeah.
We count on them for doing a lot of the things that there's just no way that the city council could do. Yeah. And they kind of manage, people go through the clerk's office, fill out an application, and then the actual commissions themselves decide if the person's a good fit or not. And this person, Emily Newharth, attended a couple meetings. They said, yep, she'll be a good fit. So they recommended us appointing her. We have to do it via an ordinance, so that's what we did. We appointed Emily Newharth to join the Sustainability Commission.
All right, I know we have an appointment on our next agenda as well, but there are still some openings, I know, on especially like the arts and I believe the Historical Commission. Yep. So if you are interested in serving, go to the city's website and fill out that interest form. You can find it there, rank which commissions you want to serve on, and then again, when these openings come up periodically, someone will be in contact with you.
Yeah, and some of them are a lot more time commitment than others, and but they're a great way to get involved around the community. We're a town of almost 24 square miles and 64,000 people, and when you get involved in a commission, it just breaks it down. All of a sudden, you're sitting in Mayberry again. Yeah. You know, hey, I know all these people. Yes. You know,
exactly. Great way to serve your community.
Yep.
All right, moving forward, Council held a public hearing. This was the Truth and Taxation hearing, which is done annually, and adopted the 2025 budget and tax levy. And you did bring up, I think, we used to have one guy come in and actually praise the council. We don't get that anymore, but nobody spoke at the Truth and Taxation hearing.
No, usually if people come into this, they have a misunderstanding and they're in there to challenge the value of their property. And that's not what this is about. This is about if you have, if you want to challenge how we're spending your money. You know, this is the meeting to come in and talk to us. Staff works so hard on this. Literally we get to the next year and they're already starting to work on the following year's budget because we don't have the luxury of being able to make quick, big decisions because our funding comes from property taxes, so we have to tell people quite in advance what the property taxes are going to be, and then that's how much we've got to work with for that whole year. So it has to be very careful budgeting to make sure we've got all of our needs covered, and that's really what this budget represents. Worked very hard to get it to 7.85%, which is uncomfortably high for us, but we've got so much pressure from personnel. There's, with all this inflationary pressures, and we really thought that this represents needs over wants, and that's where we're at, 7.85%. Nobody came in and talked to us about it. And like as we mentioned, we did have one resident that used to come in every year and just go, "I'm just here to tell you what a great job I think you're doing." It's like, thanks, Milo.
Which is always nice to hear, for sure. All right. Well, by now, folks have gotten their Truth and Taxation hearings, which shows their portion of taxes, and the budget and levy are adopted.
And if you're in Coon Rapids, obviously you are in Anoka County, and there was a bit of a sticker shock there.
Yes.
And I think Onoka County was almost 17%.
They did have some people at their hearing. From
Yeah, they did have some people at their hearing. Yeah, I almost went. But
All right. Well, taxes are never a fun thing, but through that part now and moving into 2025 here with the budget. All right. We'll move forward here. Council adopted a resolution approving a comprehensive plan amendment. This is for Hidden Creek Woods, second edition off of 117th Lane, it looks like.
yeah, so there was a project that started here back, I don't know how many years ago, but there was a housing crash right after they started, it seemed. So they got one unit built and then didn't get anything else built. So they've been working with Planning Commission, they've been working with Coon Creek Watershed, they got full approval to build their townhomes, but the zoning there, for some reason, the zoning there was high density residential. And it didn't match the use. So even though their whole project was approved in planning commission level, it had to come to us to get the zoning changed from high density residential to medium density residential. So that's all this was just an action to make the zoning match the land use. And this project should, I'm not sure when they're going to build it, but the planning commission approved the project. We just changed the zoning.
All right. Council adopted a resolution. This is for a lot split at 11220 Dakota Street.
112, yeah. And this one, there was a lot of rumblings about this one because there's a big lots down on the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And years ago, there was a couple properties that were sold, and they were able to actually put in a cul-de-sac and add several homes. And apparently it was determined that was not a good fit for the Mississippi River. Okay. And this was another opportunity where almost it could be done again. Yeah. And however, what they did is they took a flag lot and a river lot and turned it to two lots that are basically, it's just a pair of lots that are both buildable. The existing home will be demolished. And the plan is to build two new homes on the river, a very nice fit, it'll fit the development. So this was an easy one to approve. The flag lots are always kind of weird because in that case, it would have been, the home would have been on the street and then they would just have this little strip down to the river. So now we've got two full lots.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that was what we had to talk about from our December 3rd meeting. We're going to jump now to our final meeting of the year, which took place this week on Tuesday, December 17th. We had a nice item at the beginning to start us off here. You received a donation on behalf of the city. This is from the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. And this is actually something that's going to be going in Port Riverwalk.
Yes. So this was something that the National Association of Realtors developed several years ago. Key community grants. Yeah. And because Coon Rapids has always been a very tight partner with our local realtors, we were one of the first communities they came to work with for a key grant. And we couldn't find one. It's supposed to create a place, but it's not a ton of money. Yeah. So you're kind of limited for your scope. Yeah. And it was 4 years later now. In conjunction with all of the redevelopment along Coon Rapids Boulevard down between basically Avocet and Egret down in there. Yep. All the roads have been reconstructed, new street lamps, the wires have all been buried, all the new homes down there. And now we've got the pedestrian bridge, the regional trail connection, pedestrian bridge going in. It was a good opportunity. They're going to pay for all of the metal rods that will fit in all of our new light fixtures down there. And then there will be really nice banners down there. Our communications department worked out. There are just real nice things reflecting Coon Rapids, showing the river or whatever. So this was $9,500 in total, $7,000 from the National Association of Realtors, and $2,500 from the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. So $9,500, and we really appreciate them coming in and providing the funds for this.
Yeah, they are expensive. Those mechanical arms, like you got to put the flags on something. So nice to have something that this money can go towards, and they're making progress on. I know at least the piers or whatever is going to hold the bridge. That I know they're still working on down in Port Riverwalk.
Yeah. So construction on the bridge is supposed to stop. I think the 20th of December, and then it'll just be done until next March when they take off again. With the new construction.
Yeah, next year by the end of summer or fall, I imagine is when we'll start really seeing the bridge going across the boulevard. Right. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, the span is being built.
Yeah.
So once we get that, that'll just be setting it onto the piers, and it'll be, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, appreciate that donation from them. As I alluded to earlier, Council adopted a resolution appointing a member to the Arts Commission.
We did. Oh, yeah, and I never did get the exact pronunciation. It's either Blindauer or Blindauer or Blindauer. I'm still going with Blindauer.
Okay.
But
Well, George, if you're out there watching, give us a call and let us know.
George, I apologize.
But we do appreciate him stepping up for this role.
Yeah, and the Arts Commission that's one of our busier commissions. Yeah. They're down doing the concerts in the park. They do the holiday lighting. They have a lot of stuff going on. They do the winter concert series.
Yeah, photo contest.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty fun commission to serve on, but it is one that you can put quite a bit of time into that one.
Certainly. So we appreciate his service and all the members for that matter.
Absolutely.
All right. Council adopted an ordinance authorizing the sale of real estate. This looks like it's in the 8300 block of Mississippi Boulevard.
Yeah, so this was kind of an orphaned property. I'm not even sure how we ended up with it. Okay. It's about a half an acre, and it's between two private residences, and it backs up to private property. There's just no value for it. There's no value in it, but we've owned it for forever. Yeah. And so it's not big enough to be built on. If it's attached to the neighbor's property, it's not adding enough where they can do a lot split and build on it. Yeah. So basically, we have no use for it. It's not going to add another home or anything down there. It can't be built on. And there's really only two people that can benefit by it. And the one neighbor has no interest in purchasing it, and the other neighbor does. So we have to do, any real estate we sell has to be done by ordinance. So that's what we're doing. We're selling the parcel to the one property next door, and they'll have a bigger lot, and it'll be nice. It'll get it cleaned up, because it's always been kind of woodsy going through it. Because nobody's really caring for it.
Right. All right. Now we have someone that will care for it.
Yeah.
All right. Council adopted an ordinance amending the municipal storm water rates, charges, and collections, and also amended the 25 fee schedule for the storm water utility fee changes. This is something that we spent, I feel like, a little bit of time at the meeting.
we did.
And you guys already had a work session on this topic.
We did, and I don't think Councilmember Gruskowiak was quite satisfied with how it came out of the workshop.
No.
In his ward, he has the sod farms in his ward, so he's going to be passionate about this if he's representing his folks, his constituency. And he is, and he presented a very, very good argument. The whole thing with the raindrops when they come down, they want the raindrop to stay where it lands. In a perfect world, they want it to stay where it lands. It's not possible everywhere. You've got impervious surfaces. Water goes into runoff. It goes into there's lots of ponding, retention ponds. That's the objective, is to try and get them to go into retention ponds. At any rate, they monitor, or they measure this by, and they use a factor, it's called REF, the residential equivalent factor, and it's based on how much water goes into the ground of a residential property and how much is runoff, and they use that to create a formula for everything else, and everything's based off of that REF. And what really, we ended up spending a lot of time talking about the sod farms.
Yes.
And I agree with him that they are different than the rest of the properties. They don't have curbs and gutters around them. Any of the runoff it stays right there. It doesn't run up and get onto Main Street or.
Yeah.
So we passed this with sod farms still being considered the same as cemeteries and open land and parks. But with a motion to we're going to workshop it and take a look at the sod farms and maybe come up with a different way to tax them.
Okay.
Or
and
to
the reason that any of this is even being discussed is because of higher fees being charged on the Met Council. Correct?
Thank you. Yes, the Met Council. It's a pass through. Yeah. Whatever we're charged from Met Council, we have to make up for it because that account is not fed by the city budget. It's an enterprise fund. Yeah. So we have to raise the rates to match what we're paying out.
So it's trying to figure out a fair way to pass along these increases, essentially.
Yep. So we did pass it, and we passed it with the new rates. Yep. And again, it's neutral to the city because it has to be just a pass through.
Yep. But then this will be discussed. It sounds like again in a future workshop.
Yep. I think so. And I thought there was a very valid point. Like I said, the raindrop pretty much stays where the sod farms are. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. More to come on that, apparently. Council adopted an ordinance. Let's see here. We had a couple different ordinances, 2321, 2322, 2323, 2324, and 2325 related to cannabis business locations and also regulating cannabis businesses. And this is kind of a pass-through as well from the state that cities are now having to put in things in place to manage cannabis.
Yeah. All right, I'll leave my personal beliefs out of this. But we had cannabis rammed down our throats from the state, and we have to reach minimum standards. We can't just say, "Oh, we don't want cannabis in town," because they won't let us do that. At any rate, I thought Dave Brody, the city attorney, explained it well when he said, "It's like building an airplane while you're flying it." It's like they passed it. And now they're trying to figure out how to regulate it. Yeah. So what we did is we went through and figured out as restrictive as we could be and went with that. Yeah. We can always change it to be less restrictive later, but you can't be more restrictive if you've got somebody that moves into areas where you go, oh, you know what, that's not a good fit. Okay. So we've set up the areas that they can be in, the fees, the state tells us what we can charge for the fees. So we're being as restrictive as we can, but there's only so much we can do without violating the state statute.
Yeah, and there's requirements for you can have to allow so many of these per so many residents, right?
Yeah,
we have to have 5 at least based on our population?
It's 1 for each 12,500 of population.
Okay.
So for us, that means we have to allow at least 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So again, more to probably come on this as well as things kind of change and evolve here, but there are ordinances in place now here for that, along with the fee schedule to add the registration fees for cannabis businesses. And I know they also have to do compliance checks on these businesses as well.
Right.
That's part of it too.
Right. Yeah, even if there wouldn't have been a little fee built in for it, the city, our police would have been doing compliance checks.
Yeah. So it sounds like that fee might be too low.
Probably.
Is what it sounded like.
It's because it's the one set by the state.
Right. All right. In any case, you have now passed that. You have the fee schedule updated. And again, like I said, things sounds like they could be evolving on this as well, but it is coming in the next year or two.
They continue to work on the airplane while it's flying over us.
Yeah. All right. All right. Moving forward, Council considered a letter of engagement for the 2025 sanitary sewer lining project. Where is this going on?
Yeah, so this is down kind of a continuation working south on Hanson. This is down around Hanson, Mississippi Boulevard, which has all been reconstructed down there at some point. Most of this can be done without excavating, but there is going to be some inconvenience. There's going to be some road construction down there. But it's a 42-inch, because it's a 42-inch sanitary sewer. It's in tough shape and it needs to be relined. We've done all of I think we've done all of our clay tiles or clay pipes in town, and now we're working through the big pipes. So I guess I thought we should mention it just because if you live in that area or travel through that area, there will be some interruptions, I'm sure.
All right. Council considered or approved the purchase rather of new golf carts for Bunker Hills Golf Club.
100 new golf carts,
All right.
and these babies they're lithium batteries. They got the GPSs, which is not just like a GPS that tells you where you are. It's a GPS that can set up geofencing and control where you operate. And
Does it help you with your golf game at all?
I don't think so. So, you know, and our golf course continues to be very successful. And when Mr. Anderson comes and says, "I need this," we go, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
So.
And they're an enterprise fund, so they
Yep.
they pay for it out of their funds.
Well, and that's it. He's responsible for that budget because that doesn't come out of our general taxes. That comes out of the fees that are being charged up there.
Yeah.
So.
Very busy place. We heard there was golfers out there even in December because they golfed every month this year, it sounded like. So they were trying to get in their December round, and they did.
Yeah, they did. Oh, yeah, a week ago Monday, I went through and there's golfers on the executive today on that. I'm wearing my coat.
Yeah. Diehard golfers. They'll be out there when they can be. All right, so look for that new golf cart fleet this summer, I imagine.
Yep.
Council considered a resolution, or adopted one rather, approving the Solar on Public Buildings grant contract. This is something that came out of the state legislature, it looks like, in 2023.
Yeah. I think we had about 70% funding on this. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right. But we're getting grant money through this.
Yeah, we're getting
program.
grant money that's going to, you're right, and it's for the new fire station 3 and the west water treatment plant, which those are two buildings that make sense. You want to always put them on a new roof because you don't want to have to mess with any roof maintenance.
Yes. So these will be going on, and we got money from this. Again, this new program that the state is doing.
Yep.
And it had to be in the Excel Energy service territory, so I know they were limited on what buildings these could actually
Right.
go on, because we have a big, Connexus is the main electric company in Coon Rapids. All right, one other item we want to talk about quickly. Council approved resolutions, or adopted resolutions, approved agreements for the design and construction of the Coon Creek Regional Trail Pedestrian Bridge. We talked about this a little bit before.
We've talked about this many times. This was, okay, because we've covered the cost of the design and the construction costs. This is to hopefully allow us to get refunded or rebated because the funds are coming from the regional and the state.
Okay. So this is the bridge that's going up in Port Riverwalk, correct?
Yep, we talked about it earlier, yes.
All right. Those are the items we have. We have just a few minutes left, so quickly want to mention we did recognize our 2 outgoing council members at this meeting.
Yep. Yeah, we've got Councilmember Ray Rauer didn't seek re-election. She went on to run for House of Representatives and was successful. And Councilmember Geisler did not seek re-election. And so this was their last meeting, so we thank them, and they got their big Coon Rapids street signs.
Yeah, which is cool.
Which does not mean there's going to be a street named after them. We also have to tell people that because
I told Jenny I was expecting to see that street address in the holiday lighting contest next year.
There you go. And then at the council meeting, our 2 new council members who will be sworn in at our first meeting in January will be Peter Butler in Ward 2 and Chris Geisler in Ward 4.
Yeah. So we'll have a new council next year, or at least 2 new faces on it.
2 new faces, yep.
Yeah, into next year. So
Yeah.
lots to come on that. And then as far as events, kind of wrapped up for the year here after the tree lighting, but we do have our Snowflake Day celebration that will be quickly into the new year.
Yep, coming up the end of January, beginning of February. And I guess the one thing you would want is if you've got a community organization of any sort, they have a chili competition. And you should get signed up for that. And that's a lot of fun.
Okay, a lot of folks taking part in that. And I know, also I just learned recently they're doing a button contest. We weren't sure if they were.
Okay.
They did that for the anniversary, but they're doing another button contest, so they want kids to design that. So check the Snowflake Days website, or we'll be putting stuff out too on the city website with more information. But that deadline, I know, is around January 12th or somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that exact date, but it's the first part of January that you have to get your design in, obviously, because they need to make the buttons for Snowflake Days.
If you do an internet search for Coon Rapids Snowflake Days, it'll probably take you to all of the information you need.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are out of time.
Yep.
It's been great having you here again to this time and throughout the year. We appreciate that. And thank you all for joining us as well at home. Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you back here in the new year.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.